The human fleet moved slowly through the dark, like tired animals crossing a cold desert. Ships of many shapes and sizes drifted together, held in loose formation near the Battlestar Resolute. Some ships were military, many were not. Old cargo haulers, medical transports, colony vessels filled with families, everything humanity had managed to save was here. Engines hummed softly, lights were low, and most crews believed they had a short moment of rest. Commander Mark Hale stood on the command deck of the Resolute, hands resting on the metal rail in front of him. He was not a tall man, and his uniform showed signs of long use. The fabric was worn at the elbows, the insignia faded. He had not slept much in days. Still, his eyes were sharp as he watched the wide starfield on the main screen. Lieutenant Emma Wright worked at the sensor station. Her fingers moved fast over the controls, more from habit than need. Space was quiet. Too quiet. Then the silence broke. Multiple contacts, Emma said, her voice tight. No, not contacts, fleet signatures. Large ones. The lights on the command deck shifted from calm blue to warning red. Alarms began to sound, sharp and loud. The starfield on the screen changed as glowing shapes appeared, dozens at first, then hundreds. Massive alien warships slid out of nothingness, their hulls dark and smooth, their movement cold and exact. They did not send a message. They did not wait. Energy beams tore through space, bright and violent. One of the outer human ships vanished in a flash of light, broken apart before its crew could even react. Another ship spun out of control, burning as atmosphere escaped into space. Enemy fire confirmed, someone shouted. The alien armada advanced in perfect formation, their weapons firing with brutal timing. They moved like a machine built for one purpose: destruction. On the Resolute, officers looked to Commander Hale. They knew the truth. Their weapons were weaker. Their shields were old. Their fleet was slow and full of civilians. Every tactical model said retreat was the only option. Mark Hale did not move for a moment. He watched the screen, his jaw tight, his mind racing. He had seen this before. Different enemy, same result. Humans running, worlds lost, numbers growing smaller each year. Commander, Emma said quietly, we're outmatched. He nodded once. I know. Another human ship exploded, the light washing over the command deck. No one spoke. Fear hung heavy in the air, thick and sharp. Mark straightened. His voice carried clearly, steady and calm. All ships, this is Commander Hale of the Battlestar Resolute, he said. We hold here. A few heads turned. Someone inhaled sharply. Repeat, he continued, we do not retreat. Defensive formation. Military ships forward. Civilian ships fall in behind us. Use the Resolute as cover. There was a brief pause on the comms. Then one by one voices answered. Copy that, Commander. Understood. Moving into position. The human fleet began to shift. Old ships struggled to turn, engines whining as they pushed past limits long ignored. Military vessels moved ahead, forming a rough wall between the aliens and the civilians. It was not perfect. It was not pretty. But it was something. On the alien command ship, far across the battlefield, observers watched the human response. Tall figures with pale skin and dark eyes studied the data streams. Their technology was advanced, their predictions precise. The humans are not retreating, one observer said, confusion clear in its tone. That is illogical, another replied. They cannot win. Their systems ran thousands of outcomes. In nearly all of them, the humans fled. In the rest, they were destroyed quickly. Yet here they were, standing their ground. The alien commander watched as human ships took hits meant for slower vessels behind them. One human frigate lost engines and drifted, burning, yet still fired its weapons until it went silent. Another ship maneuvered directly into enemy fire to block a beam that would have struck a medical transport. They are sacrificing combat units to protect non-combatants, an observer noted. Yes, the commander replied. Strange. Back on the Resolute, the deck shook as the first direct hit slammed into the Battlestar's shields. Console sparked. Someone fell, caught by a fellow officer before hitting the floor. Shields at 70%, Emma called out. Mark gripped the rail harder. Return fire. Target closest vessel. Human weapons flared to life. Their shots were weaker, slower, but they came in waves. Missiles, kinetic rounds, energy blasts, all thrown forward with stubborn force. A few struck alien hulls, leaving only marks. One missile slipped through a gap and detonated, damaging an alien ship's outer systems. It was not much, but it was enough to show they were fighting. The alien observers adjusted their projections. Human resistance lasted longer than expected. Casualties were high but the formation held. Civilian ships continued to retreat slowly, shielded by the Battlestar and the warships. "Why do they not disengage?" one observer asked. "They are losing." On the Resolute, Mark watched a small transport limp past the view screen, its hull cracked, lights flickering. Inside were families, children, people who trusted him to keep them alive. He did not look away. "Commander," Emma said softer now, "we won't hold forever." "I know," Mark replied. "We just need time." Another explosion rocked the ship. The smell of smoke filled the air. Still no retreat order came. Across the battlefield, the alien commander felt something unfamiliar. Not fear but uncertainty. Humans were not acting like the models predicted. They did not value survival the same way. They did not run when logic demanded it. "They are enduring," the commander said slowly. "Yes," the observer replied. "They should not be able to." The battle continued, fire and light tearing through the dark. Human ships fell one by one but each loss bought seconds. Seconds for engines to charge. Seconds for ships to escape. Seconds for humanity to breathe. And in those moments, as the humans refused to retreat, the aliens made their first true mistake. They assumed humans would break. They did not. The battle did not slow. Space around the human fleet burned with light and falling debris. Ships moved in broken lines, engines straining, shields flickering. The Battlestar Resolute carried scars now, black marks across its hull, but it still held its place at the front. Inside the ship, engineer Daniel Brooks ran through a narrow corridor, boots hitting the floor hard. The lights flickered above him, some panels dead, others flashing red. Smoke hung in the air, sharp and metallic. He wiped sweat from his face with a dirty sleeve and kept moving. "Damage control teams report," he said into his wrist comm. "Section C losing power. Shield Relay 4 is unstable. Cooling system breach on Deck 9. Daniel closed his eyes for half a second. Too many problems. Not enough time. "I'm on my way," he said. "Don't wait for full fixes. Patch it. Hold it together." That had become the rule. Not perfect repairs. Not clean solutions. Just enough to keep moving. On the command deck, Emma Wright leaned over her console, jaw tight, eyes locked on the tactical display. Red symbols crowded the screen. Every one of them meant danger. Alien ships moved with smooth, exact motion, firing in calm, deadly patterns. The humans did not have that luxury. "Commander," Emma said, "civilian ships are still too exposed. We're losing them faster than expected." Mark Hale nodded, his face hard. "Options." Emma's fingers flew. "We can't pull back. If we tighten formation, we lose maneuver space." She paused, eyes narrowing. "Unless," she said slowly, "we change what counts as cover." Mark looked at her. "Explain." She took a breath. "Some civilian ships still have hull plating intact. Cargo ships or carriers. They're slow but solid. If we place them forward, angle them right, they can absorb fire meant for weaker ships behind them." A silence followed. It was a dangerous idea. "They're not warships," Mark said. "No," Emma replied. "But they're what we have." On another deck, Daniel reached a junction where power cables hung loose, sparking. A young technician looked up at him, fear clear on her face. "Sir, the forward shield grid is failing. We need parts we don't have." Daniel crouched beside the open panel. "What do we have?" She hesitated. "Old converters. Wrong type." Daniel smiled, thin and tired. "Then we make them the right type." He pulled tools from his belt, hands moving fast. He cut, rewired, forced connections that would never pass inspection in peacetime. The system screamed warnings, then steadied. "See," he said. "Good enough." The ship shook again as enemy fire struck. Somewhere far above, metal tore. Back on the command deck, Emma opened a fleet-wide channel. "All civilian captains," she said, voice clear despite the chaos. "This is Tactical Officer Wright. We need volunteers. Ships with reinforced hulls, move to these coordinates. You will act as forward shields." She sent the data. For a moment there was no response. Then a voice came through, rough and calm. "This is Captain Robert Miles of the cargo hauler Stonefield. We're moving." Another followed. "Medical transport Hope's call. We can hold some fire. Copying course." More voices joined. Old ships turned, slow but steady, placing themselves between danger and the most vulnerable. Their crews knew what it meant. No one pretended otherwise. The alien observers watched the shift with growing interest. The humans are using non-combat vessels as defensive structures, one said. That reduces efficiency, another replied. They will lose more ships. Yes, the first said. But they are buying time. Their systems recalculated. Human losses increased, but the fleet did not collapse. Instead, its shape changed again and again, reacting to every strike, every failure. They do not follow a fixed battle plan, the alien commander said. No, an observer agreed. They adapt. On the Resolute, Daniel's comm crackled. Engineer Brooks, we need help on Deck 5. One of the civilian ships took a hit while covering us. Their shield generator is failing. Daniel was already moving. I'm on it. He reached the docking bay where the damaged ship had latched on for emergency support. Its hull was torn open, atmosphere venting into space, emergency fields barely holding. Crew members worked fast, faces pale, eyes wide. Daniel stepped inside, ignoring the cold creeping into the bay. Show me the generator. It's overloaded, a civilian engineer said. We can't stop it. Daniel looked at the mess of parts, many of them older than he was. He laughed once, breath fogging. Of course you can't, he said. But we can slow it. He ripped open a panel, pulled out a coolant line, and rerouted it through a secondary system never meant for that use. This will burn out your sensors, the civilian said. Daniel shrugged. You won't need them if you're dead. The generator's hum lowered. Not stable. Not safe. But alive. Get back in formation, Daniel said. Stay angled. You're doing fine. On the command deck, Emma watched as the civilian ship returned to position, taking another hit meant for a transport full of refugees. Unbelievable, she whispered. Mark heard her. No, he said. Very believable. The alien fleet adjusted tactics, increasing fire, focusing on weak points. Humans responded by shifting again, using debris as cover, rotating damaged ships out only to replace them with others. They do not stop, an alien observer said. Even when injured. They repair while fighting, another added. This is inefficient. The commander watched silently. On the Resolute, Daniel finally slowed, leaning against a bulkhead, chest heaving. His hands shook from exhaustion. His comm buzzed. Engineer, Emma's voice said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's working. Daniel smiled to himself. That's the idea. Outside, the human fleet held together through broken plans and quick choices. No single move won the battle. No perfect strategy appeared. Instead, humans bent, patched, and adapted. And the aliens began to understand that perfection was not the human way. Survival was. The battle had lasted longer than anyone expected. Space around the human fleet was filled with wreckage now. Broken hull plates drifted slowly. Small fires burned inside ruined ships until the oxygen ran out. Names disappeared from the tactical screen one after another, each one meaning a crew that would not come back. Yet the human fleet was still there. On the command deck of the Battlestar Resolute, silence came in short gaps between alarms. Every officer could see the losses. Emma Wright's display showed empty spaces where friendly signals had been moments before. She swallowed and kept working. Confirmed losses now at 17 ships, she said quietly. No one replied right away. Commander Mark Hale nodded once. His face was pale but his voice stayed firm. Update evacuation progress. Civilian ships are jumping as fast as they can, Emma replied. Engines need time. We're close but not done. Outside, another human frigate took a direct hit. Its shields failed instantly. The ship split apart, light flashing once before fading into darkness. No escape pods launched. Several crew members on the Resolute looked away. The aliens saw everything. From their command ship, they watched the human fleet shrink under steady fire. Their calculations were clear. Any rational force would retreat or surrender at this point. Losses were too high. Chances of success too low. They continue to fight, an alien observer said. Yes, the commander replied. Even as they lose. Morale should be collapsing, the observer added. It is not. The commander did not answer. In a small fighter bay near the rear of the Resolute, pilot Alice Grant climbed into her cockpit. Her fighter was scratched, patched with mismatched panels. Warning lights blinked across her dashboard. It was far from perfect. She ran a hand across the controls, steadying herself. Around her, other pilots prepared in silence. Some had lost friends already. Some had flown for days without rest. Alice opened a channel. Flight Group Echo sound off. One by one voices answered. Echo 1 ready. Echo 2 standing by. Echo 3 ready. Pause. Echo 4, a voice said finally, low but steady. Alice closed her eyes for a moment. Echo 5 would not answer again. She opened a channel to command. Commander Hale, Echo Group is ready. Mark's voice came back. You know the mission. Yes, sir, Alice replied. It was not a mission meant to win. It was not even meant to survive. The alien formation had a gap on its left flank. Strong defenses guarded the center, but the edge relied on support ships feeding power and data. If those ships were hit even briefly, alien fire would slow. Time. That was all the humans needed. Alice's fighter launched from the bay, engines roaring as she shot into open space. Her squad followed, tight formation at first, then spreading out. Targets marked, Emma's voice said over comms. You'll face heavy resistance. Alice smiled faintly. We expected that. Alien fighters moved to intercept, fast and smooth. Energy fire streaked past Alice's cockpit, close enough to light her face in sharp blue flashes. Break and scatter, she ordered. Human fighters split apart, flying hard and low through debris, using wreckage as cover. Alice rolled her craft, barely missing a beam that sliced through empty space where she had been. She locked onto a support ship, large and slow compared to the fighters. Its shields flared as she fired missiles. 2 were destroyed before impact. 1 slipped through and exploded against the hull. The alien ship did not break apart, but its power readings dropped. That's 1, Alice said. Around her, human fighters took losses. 1 vanished in a flash. Another spun out, engines dead, drifting. Echo 2 is hit, a voice said, strained. I'm still flying. Keep moving, Alice replied. Stay with me. On the alien command ship, observers reacted. The human fighters are attacking support vessels, one said. That is inefficient, another replied. They will be destroyed. Yes, the commander said slowly. But look at our fire rate. The main alien guns slowed for a moment as power rerouted. That moment was enough. On the Resolute, Emma saw it instantly. Enemy fire decreasing by 12%. Mark leaned forward. All ships, push evacuation now. Civilian ships surged forward, engines burning hard. Jump drives began to charge, one after another. Alice's fighter shook as it took a glancing hit. Systems flickered. She ignored the warnings and lined up another shot. This is Echo Leader, she said calmly. All remaining pilots, focus fire. Don't worry about getting out. No one argued. Another human fighter rammed directly into an alien support ship when its weapons failed. The collision sent debris spinning and knocked the alien vessel offline. The aliens watched in silence. They are destroying themselves on purpose, an observer said. Yes, the commander replied. To save others. Human losses mounted quickly. Echo Group was down to 3 ships. Alice felt her engines strain, overheating, alarms screaming in her ears. Echo 4 status, she asked. No response. Her chest tightened, but her hands did not shake. She fired her last missiles and turned sharply, pulling away just as alien fire tore through the space she had been in. Echo Leader, fall back. Emma's voice shouted. You've bought us the time. Alice looked at her fuel levels. Oh, hull integrity weak. Copy, she said. Pulling out. Only 1 other fighter stayed with her as they broke away, using debris and engine bursts to escape. Alien fighters pursued briefly, then turned back as new orders came in. On the Resolute, jump flashes lit the screen as civilian ships vanished into safety. One after another. The evacuation was complete. Alice docked her damaged fighter, hands aching as she climbed out. The hangar was quiet. Too quiet. Empty spaces marked where other fighters should have been. Mark Hale watched the final jump signatures disappear from the display. He let out a slow breath. Signal remaining ships, he said. Prepare for withdrawal. The alien commander studied the battlefield. Humans were retreating now, but not in panic. Their losses were heavy. Their fleet was smaller. Yet their civilians were gone. They accepted loss, the alien commander said almost to itself. Yes, the observer replied. But they did not lose hope. As the Battlestar Resolute turned away and prepared to jump, the aliens recorded the data carefully. Humans did not fight to avoid loss. They fought to protect a future. And that made them difficult to defeat. The human fleet should have been gone. Any other force would have jumped away as soon as the civilians escaped. The aliens expected silence and empty space. Instead, the Battlestar Resolute remained. Its hull was scarred and broken in places. Fire still burned deep inside, sealed behind emergency walls. Power levels were low. Weapons were damaged. Yet the ship held its position, drifting among the wreckage of the battle. On the alien command vessel, sensors focused on the lone Battlestar and a handful of remaining human ships. They have not retreated, an observer said. Their combat strength is nearly gone. The alien commander studied the data. Then they are either foolish, it said, or planning something. Inside the Resolute, engineer Daniel Brooks leaned over a work table covered in parts that did not belong together. Alien metal sat beside human circuits. Wires of different colors and thickness were twisted, taped, and welded in ways no manual allowed. Daniel looked exhausted. His hands were burned. His eyes were red from smoke and lack of sleep. Still they moved with care. This shouldn't work, a technician nearby said. Daniel gave a tired smile. That's never stopped us before. During the battle, several alien weapons fragments had been pulled into the ship by tractor beams. Most were damaged beyond use. One, however, still held power. Not stable power. Not safe power. But power. Daniel tapped a control and the alien device hummed, its light flickering in strange patterns. It's not meant to connect to our systems, the technician said. I know, Daniel replied. So we won't connect it. We'll trick it. Across the ship, Emma Wright worked with what little data they had. Alien energy signatures filled her screen. The command vessel stood at the center of the enemy fleet, protected by layers of defenses. Too strong for a direct attack. But Emma wasn't looking for strength. She noticed something else. Commander, she said, calling Mark Hale over. The alien command ship controls fleet coordination through a focused signal. It's not just orders. It's timing. Power flow. Target sharing. Mark nodded. If we disrupt it? They lose precision, Emma replied. Even briefly. Mark looked at the damaged Battlestar around him. We don't have the firepower. Emma met his eyes. We don't need firepower. We need interference. Daniel arrived on the command deck moments later, carrying a data pad and walking carefully, as if one wrong step would send him falling. I heard you're looking for interference, he said. Emma turned. You have something? Daniel held up the pad. Alien tech. Salvaged. Half broken. We don't know exactly how it works. Mark raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound promising. Daniel shrugged. It doesn't need to work right. It just needs to work wrong in the right place. The plan formed quickly. Too quickly, maybe. There was no time for long debate. They would use the alien device to create a false signal, a burst that mimicked the command vessel's own output. Not clean. Not precise. But loud. The Battlestar would jump in close, release the signal, and jump out if it survived long enough. It was a gamble. On the alien command ship, confidence grew as the humans failed to retreat. They are stalling, an observer said. Their end is certain. The commander did not respond. Something about the humans' behavior did not fit expected patterns. They did not act desperate. They acted focused. On the Resolute, crews moved with quiet speed. No speeches were made. No one asked if it was worth it. They already knew the answer. Daniel secured the alien device inside a reinforced chamber near the ship's core. He wiped his hands and took a step back. This thing could overload, he warned. It could fry half our systems. Mark nodded. Understood. Emma counted down power levels. Jump window ready. We'll have one shot. Mark looked around the command deck. Faces were tired. Some were afraid. None looked ready to quit. Do it, he said. The Battlestar jumped. Space twisted, stars stretching into lines, then snapping back into place. The Resolute appeared closer to the alien command ship than anyone thought possible. Alarms screamed instantly as enemy weapons turned toward it. Deploy the signal. Emma shouted. Daniel activated the device. For a moment nothing happened. Then the alien tech screamed. A burst of energy surged outward, invisible to the eye but loud across every sensor. It carried the shape of an alien command signal, but twisted, broken, out of sync. On the alien command ship, lights flickered. Systems hesitated. Data streams filled with conflicting orders. What is happening? An observer demanded. The signal, another replied. It matches our command frequency, but it is corrupted. Across the alien fleet, ships hesitated. Fire paused. Target locks failed. Power rerouted in confusion. The alien commander felt it then. Not damage but disorder. They are attacking our coordination, it said. Human ships did not hesitate. The Resolute fired everything it had left. Kinetic rounds slammed into exposed systems. Missiles followed, striking weakened points. Smaller human ships joined in, focusing fire with desperate precision. The alien command vessel's shields flared, weakened by internal disruption. One section failed. A direct hit tore through its outer structure. Not enough to destroy it, but enough. Inside the alien ship, systems cascaded into failure. Control was lost over several fleet elements. The perfect machine stuttered. "This should not be possible," an observer said, voice strained. The commander watched as the humans pressed the moment, not with strength but with timing. "They are persistent," it said quietly, "even when they should be broken." The Resolute shook violently as return fire finally landed. Hull plates tore away. Power dipped dangerously. Signal overload. Daniel shouted. "We can't hold it much longer." Mark clenched his fists. "Cut it." Daniel shut the device down. The alien signal vanished, leaving confusion behind. "Jump now," Emma called. The Battlestar jumped again, escaping just as concentrated alien fire tore through the space it had occupied. When the humans reappeared at a safe distance, silence filled the command deck. Systems slowly stabilized. Fires were contained. They were alive. On the alien side, the fleet regrouped. Order returned, but something had changed. The command vessel was damaged. Coordination was slower. Confidence was gone. "They used our own systems against us," an observer said. "Yes," the commander replied. "With inferior tools." The commander watched the human Battlestar retreat. "They are not powerful," it said. "But they do not stop." The data from the battle was saved, marked with new warnings. Human strength was not found in perfect weapons or flawless plans. It was found in persistence, in cooperation, and in a refusal to give up even when everything said they should. The aliens had not been defeated, but for the first time they had been shaken, and they understood why humans survived. Space slowly grew quiet. The alien fleet no longer advanced. Their ships held position at a distance, weapons powered but silent. Damage reports moved through their command channels, not filled with panic but with something new. Caution. On the alien command vessel, lights were dimmer now. Several systems remained offline. The ship still functioned, but its perfection was broken. Data streams replayed the battle again and again. "The humans are withdrawing," an observer said. The alien commander watched the Battlestar Resolute drifting among its remaining escort ships. The human vessel was damaged, barely holding together, yet still moving with purpose. "Yes," the commander replied. "But not fleeing." "They could not continue the fight," the observer said. "No," the commander answered. "But they never fought to win." The meaning of that statement settled slowly. Throughout the battle, the humans had lost ships, crews, and fighters. Their weapons had been weaker. Their numbers smaller. Their technology less advanced. By every standard measure, they should have failed. And yet, the civilians were gone. The alien commander reviewed the final evacuation data. Entire human population groups had escaped. Children, families, the future. "They protected their non-combatants at all costs," the commander said. "Yes," the observer replied. "Even using themselves as shields." The commander turned away from the display. "Record this encounter as a priority warning." The observer hesitated. "Classification." The commander paused. "Species-level threat." "Not because of power." "Then why?" the observer asked. "Because they endure," the commander said. On the Resolute, emergency lights glowed softly as crews moved through damaged corridors. The noise of battle was gone, replaced by distant hums and the quiet sounds of repair. People spoke in low voices. Some cried openly. Others worked without pause, as if stopping would let the weight of loss crush them. Engineer Daniel Brooks sat on the floor near a sealed hatch, back against the wall. His hands were wrapped in makeshift bandages. He stared at nothing for a long moment. A technician approached and offered him a bottle of water. Daniel accepted it with a nod. "We did it," the technician said softly. Daniel took a slow drink. "We survived," he replied. "That's what we do." On the command deck, Emma Wright reviewed the final scans. The alien fleet was turning away. Engines flared as their formation shifted into withdrawal patterns. "They're leaving," she said. Commander Mark Hale stood beside her. His shoulders sagged now that the danger had passed. The strength that held him upright during the battle finally gave way to exhaustion. "Confirm," he said. Emma nodded. "They're pulling back. No pursuit." Mark closed his eyes for a brief second. When he opened them, they were wet but steady. "Signal all remaining ships," he said. "Prepare for jump. Same rally point." Across the fleet, Battered human ships aligned. Some were missing entire sections. Others leaked atmosphere, held together by emergency fields and stubborn effort. Still they formed up. In a quiet corner of the hangar, pilot Alice Grant removed her helmet and set it down beside her fighter. The craft was scorched, one wing bent, paint burned away. It would never fly again. She rested her hand on the hull, feeling the faint vibration of cooling metal. Another pilot stood nearby, staring at the empty space where several fighters should have been. "They made it out," he said, not fully believing it. Alice nodded. "That's what matters." He looked at her. "You knew some of us wouldn't come back." "Yes," she replied simply. "And you still went." "Yes." There was nothing more to explain. On the alien command vessel, the final decision was made. The fleet turned away from the battlefield, engines opening a path through space. "They let us leave," an observer said. "No," the commander replied. "They could not stop us." The observer considered this. Then why withdraw? The commander looked at the data one last time. Because next time they will be ready. And next time they will still stand. The record was sealed and transmitted across alien space. New rules were added. New caution flags marked. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were persistent. Humans would not go quietly. On the Resolute, Mark Hale addressed the crew over ship-wide comms. His voice carried through damaged speakers and flickering lights. "This battle cost us dearly," he said. "We lost good people. Brave people." Silence followed. "But humanity still lives," he continued. "Because of what you did. Because you held the line. Because you protected those who could not protect themselves." No cheers followed. Only quiet understanding. "We will mourn," Mark said. "And we will remember. Then we will move forward." Emma watched the stars stretch as the jump countdown began. "Jump in 3," she said. Daniel pushed himself to his feet and steadied against the wall. Alice strapped in for transit aboard a transport ship. Crews secured what little they could. 2. The alien fleet vanished from sensors, leaving behind only debris and cold space. 1. The Battlestar Resolute jumped. Stars blurred into white lines, then vanished. The battered ship carried its survivors into the unknown, toward uncertainty, toward rebuilding. Behind them, the battlefield faded into silence. Far away, alien leaders reviewed the final report. Humans were not the strongest species they had faced. They were not the fastest. They were not the most advanced. But they adapted. They endured loss without surrender. They fought for each other even when the cost was high. And as long as even one human ship remained, extinction would never be accepted. The lesson was clear. Humanity survived not because it could not fall, but because it always stood back up.